New town, new name, same dark curse. Dexter Morgan returns in new blood, trading Miami's heat for Iron Lake's icy secrets. Old habits resurface, but with a deadly twist. Let's break down every kill and unravel Dexter's chilling descent. Before Dexter captures a target, he prepares a kill room. This involves covering the area he chooses in plastic and setting up photos of his target's victims. After capturing his target, Dexter takes his victim, who is usually unconscious, to the kill room where he carries out his kill ritual. Dexter himself had stated that he found his kill rituals intoxicating. Let's take a look at the gruesome details of this psycho's kill rituals. The ritual begins with Dexter undressing the target and securing them to a table with shrink wrap. As the target slumbers, Dexter watches and waits, his anticipation building for the moment they awaken. Next, Dexter uses a scalpel to take a tiny blood sample from the target's cheek, which he keeps as a twisted trophy. As part of his twisted game, Dexter makes his victim confront the consequences of their actions. Dexter may disclose aspects of his personal life, yet present himself as a malevolent entity, a monster. Typically, Dexter uses one of his favorite tools to get the job done, and he prefers to do it while the victim is still conscious. He likes to take charge, using restraint, dominance, and intimidation to break his victim's spirits. Killing a killer is like a release valve for Dexter's dark urges, and he believes it's a way to stop more people from getting hurt. Lastly, Dexter chops up the body and stuffs the pieces into black trash bags, which he then dumps. Moving on, the Code of Harry is like Dexter's moral compass. It helps him rationalize his murders and makes him feel like he's doing the right thing. He's also a total perfectionist, meticulous planning, choosing the right victims, and a kill room that's spotless and efficient. But in New Blood, we get to see a whole different Dexter. After almost a decade of suppressing his urges, Dexter's return to killing is a bit rough around the edges, and his first kill is a perfect example. For a decade, Dexter managed to keep his inner demons locked away.
It's been a long time.
He was doing okay putting up a sane facade, and then Matt Caldwell came along. He was arrogant, reckless, and pretty much the perfect recipe for disaster. Matt was more than just a troublemaker. He was a deliberate pain in the neck. He was a walking and talking red flag, and right from the moment he set foot in Dexter's store, something felt off. The final straw was when Matt poached that white buck on Dexter's property. That's when something inside him snapped. Dexter, being Dexter, keeps his cool and leads Matt into the woods, pretending to help him track the deer. Unknown to Matt, there is a different kind of hunt going on here, and unfortunately, he was the prey. Just as Matt lets his guard down, Dexter whacks him with the rifle butt. And just like that, the dark passenger locked away is back. Muscle memory kicks in, and Dexter's actions become almost automatic, like he's done this just yesterday. And that's when things start to get real ugly. Back at his home, Dexter hangs up plastic in the shed and lays Matt on a table still alive. After apologizing for the mess because, according to him, he was out of practice, Dexter takes a blood slide, which causes Matt to wake up to the most horrifying moment of his life. Although Matt was initially deviant to Dexter, when the latter asked him to own up to the bad things he had done, he eventually succumbed, acknowledging his sins and begging for forgiveness. But Dexter's resolve is unwavering, and with calculated precision, he delivers the fatal blow. Normally, Dexter's got a solid plan for getting rid of bodies. But this time, he's surprisingly sloppy. He buries Matt in the snow, basically right under everyone's nose. A mistake that would later come back to haunt him. Although Matt's murder can be considered impulsive, Kurt Caldwell's murder is a return to form. Kurt Caldwell came across as a regular small-town sweetheart. But behind that warm smile was a monster. A hunter. A man who kidnapped, toyed with, and murdered innocent women, just for the thrill of it. The twisted roots of Kurt's psyche were forged in the fire of his father's brutality, as he watched, helpless and horrified, as father Roger Caldwell regularly assaulted sex workers in their truck. Years later, Kurt committed his first murder when he killed a hitchhiker named Iris Broussard after they got into a fight in his truck. He shot her in the back as she tried to run away, and then disposed of her body in a cave. Subsequently, Kurt repeated this incident with future victims, imprisoning them in a custom-built underground bunker designed to resemble a motel room, and ultimately killing them with a rifle shot to the back as they tried to escape. Kurt's sick games came to an end when Dexter caught him in the bunker where he had committed his atrocities. Dexter is used to flying solo, but tonight he's got an audience, his son Harrison, who's seeing his dad's dark side for the first time. Harrison and his dad team up to subdue Kurt, using a combo of distraction and tranquilizers, and then they prepare a kill table that's the exact same one Kurt used to drain his victim's blood. Nemesis finally caught up to him. Dexter wakes up Kurt, who tries to wriggle free from the plastic. But instead of denying the murders, Kurt asks if they find what he has done impressive. Harrison is furious with Kurt for killing the women, but Kurt tries to spin it like he was doing them a favor by saving them. With a tone of unflinching honesty, Dexter shatters Kurt's facade, revealing that his true drive for murder was the intoxicating high of wielding absolute power. Kurt admits he wished his son was more like Harrison, which led to Harrison confronting Kurt about trying to kill him. Kurt's life is then ended abruptly as Dexter delivers a fatal stab wound to his through his heart. This moment feels like old times for Dexter, but it's different this time. Kurt was a monster who killed people Dexter cared about, so this isn't just about following the code. It's personal. Harrison's face is a picture of conflicting emotions as he watches Dexter take apart Kurt's body. After dismembering the corpse, Dexter puts Kurt's body parts in garbage bags, and then he and Harrison burn them in a furnace. Dexter says that people will think Kurt simply ran away from his current life. Next up on Dexter's kill list is an unlikely victim. Unlike his previous killings, Dexter's murder of Sergeant Logan is not part of Dexter's ritual. It's purely driven by survival. No preparation, no code, just desperation. But Logan isn't just any cop. He's also Harrison's wrestling coach, and a really good guy who actually cares about people. But right now, none of that matters because Dexter is in survival mode. And when that happens, everyone's in danger. It all started when Angela Bishop headed out to check on Kurt's bunker after Dexter tipped her off. Meanwhile, Logan threw Dexter in a cell and later brought him a tuna fish sandwich and chips. In the darkness of his confinement, a spark of determination ignites within Dexter, fueling his unyielding resolve to reunite with Harrison and shatter the chains that bind him to Iron Lake. As he prepares to embark on his perilous plan, Dexter's thoughts turn to the most basic of necessities, and he calls out for Logan, asking for a bottle of water. When Logan hands Dexter the water, Dexter seizes the opportunity to attack, slamming Logan against the cell and putting him in a chokehold, pleading with him to surrender the keys. Logan retorts, "Angela was right about you," and begins to reach for the keys, but Dexter catches on when Logan's hand starts to move towards his gun and warns him not to try anything. Logan ignores Dexter's warning, pulls out his gun, and tries to shoot Dexter backwards, but Dexter's too quick and snaps his neck instead. After taking Logan's keys, Dexter breaks out of his cell and uses Logan's phone to call Harrison, arranging to meet at the White Deer crime scene. And now, in a rather surprising twist, the final ritual in Dexter. New blood is not carried out by Dexter himself, but rather by his son, Harrison. When Harrison meets up with Dexter at the White Deer crime scene, he notices blood on Dexter and asks who it belongs to, but Dexter says he'll explain later. Harrison puts two and two together and realizes that Dexter called him from Logan's phone, which can only mean one thing: Dexter killed Logan. Harrison becomes furious, believing that Dexter's code was to only kill people who deserved it, and he doesn't think Logan deserved to die. In a desperate bid to reconcile, Dexter pleads with Harrison to come with him, vowing to cease his killing spree. But Harrison remains unmoved, insisting that Dexter's only option is to surrender to the law. As the tension between them reaches a boiling point, Dexter urges Harrison to flee, but the young man's anger and grief boil over, and he jams the barrel of his gun into Dexter's face, demanding to know if his mother and Deborah would still be alive if not for Dexter's deadly legacy. With a deep sense of remorse, Dexter expresses regret for his actions and their impact on Harrison, before guiding him to disengage the safety feature on the firearm. Dexter then instructs Harrison to shoot him, telling him it's the only way to end things. Harrison pulls the trigger, and Dexter falls with a hole in his chest. As Dexter's life slips away, he whispers, "You did good," to Harrison, and Deb holds his hand until he loses consciousness. In the aftermath of the ordeal, Angela rushes to the scene, gun in hand, and Harrison provides her with a detailed account of the events that unfolded. But rather than cuffing Harrison, Angela hands him some money and tells him to get out of town and never return. She then gives him a hug and says it's time for him to go. With Harrison's departure, Angela's attention turns to the gun, her fingers moving with a slow, enigmatic deliberation, as if wiping away not just fingerprints, but the very memories of the traumatic events that have unfolded. Angela calls in, declaring the shooting as an officer-related incident. Dexter's rituals shifted from Miami to Iron Lake, evolving, faltering, and ending. What's next for his legacy? Will Harrison carry on, or is the dark passenger dead? Comment below and try to stay off Dexter's table.